Good morning, market chameleons. Here comes Dmitry. How's everyone doing this morning? Hey, Dima.
Hey, good morning, Will. How are you?
Great, great.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So let's get started. I think we'll just put up the disclaimer really quickly.
Sure.
And then we'll start. So everyone, good morning. Keep in mind, Will and I, Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need professional help, contact your registered investment advisor or call your broker. They should be able to help you with any questions and give you guidance. There's the disclaimer, everyone. And with that,
awesome job, Dima. Hey, listen, all you new chameleons on the YouTube Live, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a member of the YouTube channel. Super helpful getting alerted to any new videos. And put any questions you have in the chat, and I will try to get them to Dmitry. And if I can't get them, if we can't get to him today, put them into the forum on the website. Lots of good answers on there. Sorry, Dima. What are you seeing this morning?
No problem. Yep. So I think we're getting GDP numbers today, I believe. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Let's take a look at the pre-market report. We'll go to the unusual option volume report, maybe take a look at unusual option trades today. We'll take a look at, there's another report I wanted to look at by expiration. I think we didn't get to it yesterday. So we'll also take a look at that report, see what's coming up, anything interesting there. So if you're joining us for the first time, this is the pre-market report, stocks that are trading actively in the pre-market hours before the market opens. We got the most active stocks, biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. And first, I just want to take a look really quickly in the higher market cap stocks, if anything's going on. So I'm going to use these filters to go for market cap 20 billion or more. So we see here, couples 10 made the list to the gainers, 3 on the decliners. I see like Disney had some bad news yesterday, right? Well, something about
I mean, it's not unexpected, right? They laid off. I mean, the numbers are large, 28,000 employees. They can't, in California, they can't open their theme parks. So there you go.
Really? By regulation, they're not allowed to?
Yeah, the state's not allowing them to do anything. So
okay, so they have to, that's a lot of people to lay off at one time. And like, surprisingly, Disney's not doing so bad. They have other business, right? They have a streaming service. They own a lot of streaming content, I think. So, and a lot of movies, but yeah, those theme parks, they're not doing really well right now. So I saw that news yesterday. Duke Energy made the top of the list, and this is an energy company. Do they have a like clean energy, or is it like a mix? I know they've been, they've been selling off for a while. Today up 6.2%. Let me just see if there's any kind of news on there. This is something with solar. They get into the solar business, not sure, but that's up 6.2%. NIO, that's the Chinese electric.
Yeah, they're the largest manufacturer of electric vehicles in China, and the stock's been, in the last 52 weeks during the sell-off, I got it low of a couple dollars. I think it's been watched for years by people who also play Tesla, and at one point they thought it was going to go out of business. Yeah, in the last 52 weeks it got down to like $1.19.
It looks like to 12. Let's just see that chart, like a year chart. Oops, year chart. Let's take a look at histories. Yeah, so you can see here, kind of like, so once Tesla took off, just in sympathy, it went up. It just kind of went up with it. Is that what happened?
Well, it's done. I mean, we've been watching Tesla so long, and those who were in the first edition of the morning show, they actually moved inversely at one point too. I mean, it's been
really?
It's been an interesting stock to watch, that's for sure.
Well, let's take a look at this one. What's going on in this? Because 3.3 million shares are trading hands in the pre-market hours in NIO. So we see here it's closed yesterday $20.85. That was up 10.9% on the day. now trading 21.75, so up another 4.3%. Here's the range in the pre-market, 20.61, 21.85. This is what the chart looks like in the pre-market hours, with a largest VWAP bar, 21.54 to 21.63 on almost 1 million shares. It looks like there might be some news on it, but I'll let you guys take a look at it and interpret that. Maybe some sales numbers are coming out here. Let's take a look at the gap history just to compare how today's 4.5% gap compares to the largest gaps it had in the last 3 years and what it tended to do afterwards. So this is in the last 3 years. We're looking at the 12 largest gap moves to the upside. So these are the dates over here. Any press releases that were issued on that same date, and if the market gapped up, we make a note of that as well. So we see here, taking the average of the last 12 largest gap moves, up 13.7%. So today, 4.3%. So, well below that average. This is what it tended to do after the opening gap move. From the open to the high of the day, average move was 5.4%. From the open to the low, average move was 6.4%. From the open to the close of the day, it looks like 50-50 here. 58% of the time it closed lower than the open, 42% of the time closed higher with an average loss of 0.6%. So obviously this move here, 4.3%, not quite as big as those 12 largest gap moves, but that's really quickly looking at the price action analysis after gap in NIO.
Awesome. Just so you know, and all the chameleons who aren't watching the chat, both we have two chameleons who came forward with some DUK energy information.
Yeah.
Leonard said DUK is implicated in a merger candidate, and then Jen Welsh, our favorite realtor from Boise, Idaho, says a takeover offer from NXT Era. I'm not exactly sure who that is, but do your research always. But those were two
some rumors.
educated chameleons, letting us know.
I know that this stock has been hurting. It was up there, like here you go, like as high as 103, closed at 80, so 20% off. And this is a utility company, so you'd think it has more stable earnings, right? A little bit more stable business model. $60 billion market cap on DUK Energy, and I believe I think they have nuclear power plants as well. I think, I have to go back and read it, but notice that that stock has been hurting, now up 6.3% in the pre-market hours on 214,000 shares. Obviously, there is some news out here. I'll let you guys read it, but let's just take a look at that gap history, see what this stock tended to do after opening up. So you could see here, 12 largest opening gap moves to the upside, on average 2.8%. So today 6.3%, like way higher, almost 2 times, a little bit more than 2 times its average. You see a high here of 5.6%. This is what it tended to do after the open. So from the open to the high of the day, average move 2.7%. From the open to the low of the day, average move negative 2%. From the open to the close of the day, you see 67% of the time it closed higher, 33% lower, for an average gain of 1.3%. So we'll see today what what this news brings. I didn't read, I didn't go into reading the news or interpreting it, so I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm going to close that. Let's take a look to the unfiltered report, see if anything's popping up here. So up here, CITC, low cap stock, 77 million. Looks like that's in the healthcare industry, up 116% in the pre-market hours on 6 million shares. So here we go, biotech stock. This is what it's kind of popped up right away. This is what it's doing in the pre-market hours. Trading between 248, 260, highest VWAP bar and 2 million shares. And looks like there's also some news on there. something with vaccines. But if there are no specific questions, I'm going to move on to other reports unless you have like anything people are asking, anything about the pre-market movers.
No, that's fine. Move on.
Okay. Let's take a look at some other reports. Let's see what's going on in unusual option volume yesterday, if anything interesting happens. So here I'm gonna let me filter by, I'm gonna filter by highest notional in calls that traded in the options. So here we see Beyond Meat that traded 2.6 times its average daily option volume, $131 million worth of calls versus $33.6 million worth of puts trading. That stock was up 9.5% yesterday to 165.66. Implied volatility was up 7.5%, 38th percentile rank. And this Beyond Meat, that's the plant-based, right? What are they make the
started off with burgers. Now they're in the sausage, hot dogs. They're trying to cover all bases. There are rumors of a salmon product coming out soon. Who knows?
Really? Okay, so $10 billion market cap. That's close to its 52-week high here. So that's the Beyond Meat. And it's pretty. Have you tried it? The Beyond Meat?
You and I had this discussion before. I did a taste test with my brother. Again, this was in a previous life, in a previous options report, but we did not love it. But that was like, I don't know, maybe 2.5 years ago. You mentioned you've tried it recently and you actually really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So we did the same thing. You know, my wife, we tried it a while ago and then we didn't really like it. Our kids didn't really like it. And then my wife tried it again. She kind of served it up and she didn't even say that it was like plant-based meat. We started, and I was like, you know, you know, what is this? You know, this isn't too bad with it. And then she told me, yeah, it's it was like a Beyond Meat burger.
Beyond Burger.
And and it wasn't actually, it was like pretty good. So whatever they're doing, you know, they're starting to get that formula right.
Yeah, and a lot of it's marketing, right? It's not really a health play. It's an environmental play. You are, by, you know, backing this company using their product, you are trying to eliminate the large meat manufacturers, which are huge emitters of CO2. At least that's what the data says.
Right, and they use up much more water, right? Like I think that they reduce the amount of water that needs to be used to create these meat type, you know, plant-based meat type products. So that's interesting to watch. NIO, that one we just talked about. So that traded 2.4 times its average daily option volume, almost $100 million worth of calls trading versus $12.6 million worth of puts trading. That was up 10.8% yesterday, 2085. We see implied volatility up 16.1% to 31 percentile rank. Peloton, you know, that's been on, you know, some of these have been on the list for, you know,
they're this part of the stay-at-home play.
That's a stay-at-home play. So that's the exercise bike, right? The
bike, now a treadmill. I mean, it's a $5,000 treadmill, I think. I mean, it's a very pricey item.
Right, and then on top of that, you have like a subscription because you have like a screen there.
And then it's a monthly subscription, and they sell that subscription can be purchased without the actual treadmill or bike. You can buy a subscription, and if you have a bike, you know, put on your laptop type of thing. So.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So there you have 27.9 billion market cap here. $76 million worth of calls trading. $21.4 million worth of puts trading. That was up 3.7% yesterday. Implied volatility 21 percentile rank. DraftKings, that one we talked about that before. What do they do again? Well, they do like online sports betting.
They're a sports bookmaker. Yep, that is their bread and butter. And there was just Winston Hill as a takeover offer for Winston Hill, which is the biggest publicly traded sports bookmaker in Europe. Well, actually, I think they're out of the UK, but I think Caesars may be trying to acquire them. So, I mean, it just puts them in play, right?
Puts in play, like maybe like the traditional casinos might just acquire them for their business, online business.
Yeah.
Right. And now the casinos,
their customers. Yeah.
Right. And now the casinos, a lot of them already have, they already have licenses to do, to offer online gambling. So that's one. Keep an eye out for. Traded 1.8 times its average daily option volume, $43.9 million worth of calls trading, $16.9 million worth of puts trading. Was down 2% yesterday. Implied volatility up 3.9%. Let's do the last one, Micron Technology. That was traded 2.6 times its average daily option volume, $30 million worth of calls trading versus almost $30 million worth of puts. That stock was up 2% yesterday. Implied volatility was down 0.7% to 64th percentile rank. So that's really quickly on the unusual option volume report. If nobody has any questions here, I'm going to move on.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's take a look at, I'm going to take a look at this one report here. Let's take a look at this one, options by expiration. So what this will do is it's going to look at every stock in the individual option expiration to see what the at the money vol is doing in that expiration. So obviously, one way you can look at it is the 30-day IV, which just kind of gives you 30-day constant maturity implied volatility. This one looks at individual expirations, if anything's going on in the shorter dated options, longer dated options. So let's take a look at the shorter dated options and see where the markets are anticipating bigger moves. Let's do this. I'm going to look at days till expiration. Let's do 10 days or less. So it's going to filter. So what I'm doing is filtering out any expirations that have 10 trading days or less to maturity. Let's also look for stocks that are at least $10 or more. So I'm going to filter out the lower price stocks. Let's look at option volume. Let's make it at least 1,000 shares. So this way, I'm sorry, 1,000 contracts. So at least 1,000 contracts trade on that option. Let me see if I could narrow it down a little bit more. Well, let's see what we have so far. So here, what I'm doing is this is the symbol, name of the stock price, and its change. This is the expiration, days left till the expiration. This is the at the money implied volatility on that expiration. This is the change in the at the money implied volatility. So you see here, NIO, October 9th expiration. The implied volatility closed at 116. That's up 29.5%. The total option volume on October 9th expiration was 118,963 contracts, and the total open interest in a morning going into the trading day was 66,837 contracts. Here's what the implied straddle is implying to move in either direction, up or down, by October 9th expiration. So this is implying that the stock will move up or down 16.4%. And this here is the dollar move, $3.41 up or down, according to the straddle. Okay, so that's this view. Of course, you have a bunch of other views, but let's just focus on this summary one. And right now, what I'm going to do is let's sort. I'm just going to sort by stocks anticipating the largest move. So I sorted by this implied straddle. So we see here Nikola. So what is Nikola again? Well, stock.
I hate to go back to the electric vehicles, but they are hydrogen-based, different than the lithium-based batteries. They are a hydrogen-based battery for long-distance trucking, which has
Okay.
been in the news recently because the CEO was forced out because of false statements about this whole process, this debate on
Yes.
whether it really works. They did have a partner with one of the large car companies just recently, but it's a little
Right.
messy, that's for sure.
Right. So that one, yeah, and I remember that was down, you know, it was, let's just see the high low, because I remember that's been going down, getting hurt a lot today. It's up 5.5% in pre-market, but let's take a look at that. Here's the 52-week range, as high as 93.99, as low as $16.15. So, you know, we're closer to that 52-week low. And obviously, like a lot of negative news on that stock, CEO stepping down. This is what the at the money implied volatility 201 IV up 11.2%. You see almost 23,000 shares contracts trading on this expiration. The implied move up or down 28.3% or $5.05 in either direction. So really big. Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing how the Chameleons bring it every morning. Mike from Florida just sent out that GM is backing out of that agreement with Nikola. And, you know, another Chameleon asks, is that true? And Jake, the doctor Chameleon, said it's correct. So take that for what it is. A couple Chameleons telling you what they've heard.
Right. So, you know, I guess the negative news just keeps coming out on the stocks. So we see there, look, nine trading days to go, 28. You know, that's how high those options are priced, 28.3%. If you're looking for volatility, well, that's the expected move up or down in the next 9 days. Shell, I feel like this one has come up also.
Yeah, it's been showing up as unusual option volume the past few days when we've looked at it. We haven't spoken about it every day, but it seems to be in the top list when you.
Yeah, so that was up 11.5% yesterday. So that's, you know, you could see that 52-week range, 950, 58.66, close 53.5 yesterday, up $5, 11.5%. So here we go. Implied volatility on this October 9th expiration, 177. That traded 5,500 contracts in this expiration. Total open interest here, 8,655. The implied move in that 25%, you know, up or down, or equivalent to closing. If you take the closing price, $13.34 in either direction, up or down. INO, we were talking about. Did we talk about this one this morning? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, this is oh no, INO. Sorry, that's a pharmaceutical. We have talked about it in the past. It's
so that one
NIO we talked about. Same letters.
Right. INO. I think I've seen this one also. Something that they backed out, like they're supposed to have a vaccine. Something went bad. I don't know. I think they were making like the one of the biggest percentage decliners list. But let's take a look here. You can see here as low as $1.92, as a high as 33.79, 52 weeks. So here implied volatility closed 149. That was down 20% yesterday. Total volume 11,500 contracts trading on that October 9th expiration. The straddles implying to move 21% in either direction, or that's equivalent to $2.38 in either direction. Workhorse Group, we talked about this one. Well, what did they do again?
I think it's another stay-at-home play. I think it's technology around working from home, but I could be off with that.
Designs of a manufacturer sells high-performance medium-duty trucks with powertrain components.
There you go. Completely wrong. Which I am 50% of the time.
All right. So, yeah, but I feel like their name comes up a lot. So that was down 3.7% yesterday on the stock. Again, looking at October 9th expiration, we're seeing 9,879 contracts traded on this expiration. The implied move making 19.8%, almost 20% in either direction. That is equivalent to $5.36. based on that closing stock price. Beyond Meat, we're just talking. So here we go. Beyond Meat, NIO, they're making, the top of the list, right? The expected top movers in the next 10 days. So here we go. Beyond Meat up 6.2% yesterday. We're just talking about it. Implied vol. Sorry, that's not Beyond Meat. That's Bed Bath and Beyond. Sorry, sorry. That's Bed Bath and Beyond, not Beyond Meat. So that was down 2.5% yesterday. The October 9th expiration, the implied vol closed 130, up 6.2% on 3,279 contracts, and that is implying a move of 18.3% in either direction, or $2.66. The NIO, that was up 10.8% yesterday. So we're looking at, on October 9th expiration, implied volatility closed at 116, up 29.5%, traded 118,000 contracts. On October 9th expiration, that's implying a move of 16.4% in either direction, or $3.41. So these are like the top, implied, based on the implied volatilities and the straddles, top stocks anticipating the biggest moves in the next 10 days. So that's one way to look at this report. Other ways we could go over.
We only have about 7 minutes left. We did have Colin Murphy all the way from Dublin, Ireland, reaching out. He's got an MU. They reported earnings after the market yesterday. And Jake, he was asking a question about how the stocks have historically react after earnings. Jake was asking maybe go to, I don't know, if it's all crush data or
so let's take a look at that. So here's the MU historically. This is what the straddle implied. These blue bars, that's what the straddle up or down. So you see here it starts at 0, and this is the straddle up or down. And the red is the actual move to the downside. The green is the actual move to the upside. So here we see yesterday, the straddle was implying a move of 7.4% in either direction. Right now, we're down, 3.9%, 3.6% in the pre-market hours. So within that expected move. Here's what historically the options that they overestimated the move 54% of the time. So 54% of the time they overestimated the move. The other times they underestimated. The average of all the implied moves heading into earnings was plus or minus 7.8%. The average actual move was 6.4%. So we see that on average, there's a 1.4% differential that they tended to overestimate the move. Let's take a look at the.
He actually, I just heard from Jake. He says, ask Dmitry to look at the stock pattern post earnings.
Stock pattern. Okay.
Click on earnings, then stock patterns. The gentleman wants to know how it behaves after earnings.
Okay, so here's the historicals, how it tended to behave after reporting earnings. So we see that 64% of the time it opened higher, 36% of the time it opened lower for an average gain of 1.9%. It looks like the absolute average move up or down at the morning was 5.2%. So if it opens here, it's a little bit below that average move up or down. After the opening, this is what it tended to do. From the opening to the high of the day, the average move was 2.4%. From the open to the low of the day, the average move was negative 2.9%. After the open, it tended to go lower more often than higher. So 73% of the time, it closed lower than the opening price. 27% of the time, it closed higher for an average loss of negative 0.9%. So that's the historical return distribution after reporting earnings on MU for the last 12 quarters. That's what it looks like. And it looks like heading out of earnings, it tended to be weaker. day after, 2 days after, 3 days after. So looked like day after, 64% of the time it was lower for an average loss of 1.2%. On a 2 days after, 82% of the time it was lower for an average loss of 2.7%. So it looks like heading into earnings, it did better. After earnings, tended to weaken. So that's its historical price patterns around earnings. Lastly, let's just take a look at what the implied volatility did. If you guys are looking at the options, so these are the implied vols. We're looking at options with 30 days to maturity, so not the near term, but options a little bit further out, 30 days to maturity. On average, implied volatility was down 20% after reporting earnings. So the day before earnings, the 30-day IV on average was 55.9. After reporting earnings, the average implied volatility day after was 45.3. 5 days later, on average, the implied volatility was 44.7. So let's just take a look at yesterday. It closed at 50.5. Remember, 30-day constant maturity, not near term, which on average, so a little bit below the average of 55.9. We see in the last 12 quarters was as high as 94.8, as low as 45.1. So yesterday closed at 50 and a half. Average implied volatility on that 30-day day after 45.5, 45.3. So that's really quickly MU from the historical price action analysis and implied volatility.
Hey D, we have just a quick show. American Airlines, AAL. This is a new chameleon, just joined us today. He would like our show to start at actually 6 a.m. Wants an earlier start.
That's very,
but
yeah.
he loves the chit chat on YouTube. Just show him how the trade ideas. I know you're not going to be able to get into it in detail, but just how the trade cards work so he can see that.
Okay. Yeah. So the trade ideas, these are filtered from our screeners, and basically it's using our own preset filters. Obviously, you could go in there and filter and set your own filters, and your own criteria. But here it filters out, things that we find as either positive theoretical edge and high theoretical win rate. Historically, you could drop this down, and right now it's defaulted to the top 3 by theoretical edge. You could drop it down and pick any of these strategies here. And I think we're going to be adding some more coming up in the next month. But for example, I don't know, is he bullish, bearish?
How can you be anything but bearish in airlines? I have no idea what he is.
Okay. Well, let's just take a look from the bull side. I brought it up real quickly. So here's like a bull put spread, and it's finding some with positive theoretical edge. So here it's saying selling the 12 put in October 16th, buying the 10.5 put, same expiration. The market price credit is 48 cents. We think it's worth 33 cents. So if you're selling it above, that gives you a theoretical edge of 14.4% with a historical win rate 74%. That's using 6 years of historical data and actual returns in the stocks. So I know we're at 9:30. I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great trading day. Thank you for joining, everyone. And Will, any parting words?
Great job, D. Everyone gets a lot of information. Thanks for joining us, chameleons. Make sure you tune into tomorrow's show. Have a great, safe trading day. Bye, D.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.